Well, hey there and welcome back to the channel. Today, I know it's a bit late, but I wanted to share my collecting goals for 2025 and talk you through my top 10 most wanted toys this year. That's right, this year I'm making a couple of big changes to how I collect. I'm going to be focusing more on pieces that display well with what I already have, things that can really elevate my collection and tie it all together, but it also means fewer impulse buys. But don't worry, I'm still keeping an eye out for quirky knockoffs and hidden gems, but every purchase will have a purpose. Or at least I'll try to. And yeah guys, be sure to stick around until the end because I also would like to hear your top 3 toy wishlist items for 2025 and why this is the year that you're gonna go after them. So, let's get started. Starting off at number 10, we've got Toy Fair catalogs from the 80s and 90s, and maybe 70s even. These catalogs were used by toy companies to show off their lines to retailers, and they're packed with prototypes, concept art, and even toys that never made it to shelves. These things are like time machines for toy history, showing how lines evolved and adapted to trends. On the rarity scale, they hit pretty rare since they were meant for industry professionals only, and weren't widely distributed. And as far as the price goes, it really depends on the Toy Fair catalog itself. I'm mainly going to be going after more of the Mattel Toy Fair catalogs that tied in with the original releases of Masters of the Universe, the original line, and yeah, some Toy Fair catalogs somebody could be asking $10 for, and another one $1,000. So it's really all over the place for these, because it really just depends on the year and the toy lines featured inside of it. I'm really hoping these will add a cool historical vibe to my collection, and they're the perfect way to represent the evolution of some of my favorite lines. And to be perfectly honest, I think all of this might go one day, but the one thing I'm going to try holding on to is probably those Toy Fair catalogs because they feature all of the toys inside. Now for me personally, doing the Toy History series, it's also one of the cooler things to be looking for. It just shows you what they were thinking at the time of the release and even throws in a little bit of features before they went into production for most of these toys. So there's always like these little things where, oh, this was supposed to have like an extra firing function, or this was supposed to have more differences and stuff like that. So it's really fun to check these out and kind of like figure out, oh, they pretty much threw away this gimmick at the very end. So in a way, I'm definitely going to be looking for the Mattel ones and hopefully some more Hasbros and Galoops, because Playmates, I'm pretty much done. Then coming in at number 9 is the Superpowers Hall of Justice playset from 1984. This is the ultimate display piece for the Superpowers line. It was based on the headquarters from the Super Friends animated series and came with awesome little details like cardboard computer consoles and a jail cell. Now where this Kenner release might not be super rare, the rarity is in finding one complete. That's really going to be the challenge, especially with all the small accessories still intact. And I think price wise I'm looking at around $150 to $400 for a piece like this, depending on the completeness and whether it comes with the box or not. Over the last couple of years, I've definitely fallen in love with the Superpowers line. There's so many characters in it, and the later releases have the more weird ass characters in them for sure. But one thing that really ties together this whole toy line is this one playset that got released, because there is an unproduced one, the Dark Side playset as well. But this one is just such an iconic piece. And the other thing about this playset is size-wise, it actually folds up, so I can kind of like still put it away somewhere over here. At number 8, we're diving into nostalgia with the Rat Catcher and Thunderquack vehicles from the 1991 Darkwing Duck line by Playmates. So out of any of the cartoons in the Disney afternoon, I mean, Darkwing Duck was the most badass. It was like Disney's Batman or some kind of thing. I loved the villains, I loved the main character in it, but there's one thing that is just the most iconic thing in there. It's got to be like the airplane he flew in, the Thunderquack. It's so freaking cool, and I actually, as a kid, I didn't even realize Playmates had put out a toy line for it. I didn't even realize they had a plain version in toy form. So now knowing it as a collector, it's definitely something I want to go after. Now, of all the toy lines that came out of the Disney Afternoon series, like a DuckTales or a Gummy Bears, they didn't really have too good toy lines, but Tailspin and Darkwing Duck definitely really had a good first year run with Playmates, so that's why I'm definitely going for those. The Thunderquack is just one of the most recognizable cartoon-inspired vehicles, with its unique design straight out of the show. Here once again, the rarity is in finding one that's complete with all the stickers, but I do feel like this is way more uncommon than, say, a Superpowers playset. So this one is definitely higher up on the list for me to come across, together with the other vehicle. So the price on these is kind of like, just because there's less of it out there, there's less prices registered, but I'm thinking between $50 and $150 should get me one of these awesome items. And on the other side, this is definitely the line completionist in me that's popping this in the number 8 spot, because I have most of the figures from the line. I just want to complete this line because it's so small and it's doable. It's definitely doable to get all of these things released within this IP. One thing's for sure, adding these vehicles would complete the display and bring it all to life. Number 7 is Major Matt Mason, a toy line from the 60s that absolutely captured the space race energy of the era. Major Matt Mason was one of the first toy lines to embrace the astronaut culture, and its packaging is just as iconic as the figures themselves. They are, however, very fragile due to rubber deterioration, so finding them in good condition is very rare. Now, I have come across a couple last year, but I never know what to look for. I never knew, like, is this like the main character or not, so it's definitely a toy line I'm gonna need to do a little bit more digging around for. But what I hope to accomplish is just getting one maybe complete on card, because it's just a total package of what like the space race and that 60s astronaut culture seems to have been all about. Now I'm gonna keep my eye on deterioration parts for this, but I hope that a lot of them still survived. It's just about trying to find it, because I don't feel like a lot of people are bringing these toys along to toy fairs. And that's where the price comes in for this one. These seem to go for around at least $100 to maybe $300, and I'm not even talking about them on card. So hopefully I'll come across one that's pretty cheap. And from a toy historian perspective, this line is a perfect blend of history and design, and it's just a total grail piece for the vintage collector like me. Number 6 brings us to the Action Boglins from 1987 and all of the other spin-off Boglins off the larger Boglins that added fun play features. They had so many quirky other Boglin type of deals over here. Some that had like slime coming out of them, one that came with like a little slime toilet. These, the ones I'm referring to, are actually the action ones that performed like an action where you would have their tongue floating out, or they could make a sound or something like that. They had a gimmick, a little action to it, and it came in these cute little cages. They seem to be more of a UK release than a USA release, so they're often overlooked and overshadowed by the bigger Boglins that were way more popular. They are pretty rare and often forgotten by collectors, making them even more fun to track down, and once you do, it's definitely that experience of finding something not everybody has been looking for. But once you find them, you're gonna end up paying around $60 to maybe closer to $100 for some of these. It all depends on which one, and I know I'm casting a really wide net with these, but I love Boglins, so I want to just get more of it and learn about more different types of Boglins that were actually released to the toy market. And now that I've already collected most of the bigger Boglins, it's just time to dive into these action-packed little guys. At number 5 is G1 Megatron, one of the most iconic Transformers ever. Megatron's realistic pistol mode caused major controversy, leading to stricter toy safety regulations in the US. So, finding one complete with the stock silencer and other small parts is definitely a challenge. I'm not a big Transformer guy, but I can't deny that the original Megatron is an iconic toy. If it's just due to, you know, the controversy stories around it, or just that it's really just based off of a Diaclone or another pre-existing pre-Transformer line from Japan, it just makes it so cool to know about it and to kind of like have that one other iconic piece for the collection. But they come with a really big price tag, so these range from $250 to $600 to finding something that is close to near complete condition. But it's such a cool piece to have, so I'm gonna keep my eyes out open for him, and maybe I'll keep more than meets the eye out for him. In the number 4 spot is the monstrous duo of Decompose and Metlar from the 1986 Inhumanoids line. These are pretty much the other two big ones I need from that line. They're big, huge, awesome monsters that I love. You can see Tendril right here. He's awesome, he's big, but I kind of want him in the collection. So Metlar is another badass looking one, but the coolest one is probably Decompose with like the rib cage opening up. It's just one of the most gruesome toys out there. Definitely. Now, as far as rarity goes, these are definitely rare, and especially with tight joints, because some of these are given out and you can't really have them stand up straight anymore. Typically, you'll lose around $100 to $300 each on these, depending on the condition. But if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I'm into like all the monster stuff, and these are just one of the best things that Hasbro has ever done. So I gotta go for it. Now, before we hit the top 3, here's an honorable mention, and that is actually the getaway car or the cop car from Dick Tracy, the toy line by Playmates. I'm not really into Dick Tracy. I don't really want the getaway car in good condition or the cop car in good condition, because I want this car to do a custom piece with it. However, this 1990 release perfectly captures the noir vibe of the movie. It's moderately rare, and especially with all the parts intact, but I don't need all the parts. So if we're looking at a complete one ranging from $30 to $80, depending on condition, I'm looking just for one that has not too many parts missing, because it's not for displaying, it's for a custom project. Because in one of the Toy Fair catalogs I own, I actually found out about Playmates wanting to reuse this mold for the Toxic Crusaders line. They wanted to put out Dr. Killmoth's awesome buggy or car, getaway car, whatever you want to call it. So I kind of want to get one of my customizer buddies to maybe take the shell of one of these and mimic it to what it is in the Toy Fair catalog. That would be super awesome. So that's going to be one of the custom projects for this year. So yeah, if you have a broken getaway car, let me know. Now let's move on to the top 3 spot. And definitely, guys, let me know in the comments what your top 3 most wanted toys are for this year and why you want to go after them this year. Leave it in the comments down below. At the number 3 spot is the Tyrannosaurus from the Masters of the Universe line. This dinosaur is one of the last major releases in the Powers of the Grayskull MOTU subline, making it a must-have for anyone trying to complete the whole set. It's definitely rare, especially with all the accessories like the green thing that can shoot out of his belly, and they range around 200 to 500 depending on the condition and the completeness. Now, I'm very close to completing my Masters of the Universe line. I still need the Giants, but this year I'm gunning for this T-Rex. I really want it. I think it just looks so cool, and anything that's Skeletor related, I kind of want. I already have Bionatops. I will be keeping my eye out for Turbodactyl, but I got my main focus on the Tyrannosaurus here. In the number 2 spot is the Invisible Man Mike from the TMNT Universal Monsters line, one of my favorite sublines in the whole TMNT toy line. This figure came out at the tail end of the subline, so it's hard to find than earlier releases. It's rare due to lower production numbers, and loose, I'm hoping to find one of these for around $100 to maybe $250. Depending on condition once again. Now, there's still a lot of TMNT stuff I'm going to be looking for. I am, however, going to cut down on some of the TMNT merch stuff, because whenever I see it, I just can't not buy it, but I should definitely try to keep myself from it. So I've got a couple things in mind that I really want for TMNT, and this Invisible Mike is definitely on it, because it will help me complete the whole Universal Turtle subline. So that one's definitely on the list. It's my main TMNT figure I'm gunning for this year, but there's a lot more other TMNT items, and I just don't want to get too like caught off guard by other stuff that I find out and then, you know, try to add to the collection but don't have room for. And then finally, at the #1 spot, we got Creepy Bots by Roundhill Industries. These headless figures were designed to work with matte balls and other gross out toys, giving them a body to lie on and be displayed. These are extremely rare, especially in good condition and with the packaging. But I'm just looking for one loose, so I think maybe $100 to $300 is what I want to spend on one of these. It's from doing the toy history episode on the Mad Balls knockoffs that I found out about it, and now I really want it. It just seems like one of those things that I'm never going to come across. So if I do, I definitely want to make a move on it. One of my collecting goals has always been that I want the experience of actually hunting, whether it is at a toy convention, at a toy store, at a flea market, over at another collector. I want to do the purchase in person. There is very few items in here that I've actually sourced through eBay or through just an online deal. I want the actual experience. I want there to be memories attached to it. Even though I'm sometimes missing out on really good deals that way, I'm more of I like my way of collecting like this a lot more, because it also just weighs out the other things. Like, you can't buy everything. It has to be presented to you in a way. So that was it for my top 10 most wanted ones. And yeah, guys, definitely leave in the comments down below what you're going to be looking for. And yeah, don't hesitate to tag me on Instagram with your top 3 most wanted ones. I'll definitely repost a story that you're looking for these. That's going to be it for this episode. This Saturday, I will be back with more toy hunting adventures from Madrid, and so on. Yeah, maybe next week 2 more videos. I don't know yet. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely subscribe for more 80s and 90s toy hunting and toy collecting content. And if you like to do more and support the channel a little bit, you can obviously check out what we have on Patreon or YouTube memberships. Both of those will get you also into the Discord, where we talk about toy collecting and show what we found over the weekend and stuff like that. So it's the It's Retro Geek Out Discord. You can get through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you soon. Bye.